All right, we are doing intercepts, x and y intercepts, which you know is where the line crosses the x and y intercepts. So that's easy. Okay, ready to go. All right, so the y-intercept is where x equals 0. And so your ordered pair is going to be 0, y. The x-intercept, also known as the 0 sometimes, the 0, is where y equals 0. And so your ordered pair is going to be x, 0. Okay, so for example, on this graph, here is the x-intercept, and the point is going to be 4, 0, because we got 4 spaces on x and nothing on y. And here's the x-axis. Y-intercept is right here on the y-axis, and that is going to be 0, -2. Y-intercept, x-intercept. And if I want to find the slope, it's kind of easy with this because I have zeros. So my slope is going to be 0 minus -2 over 4 minus 0. So it's going to be 2 over 4, which is 1/2. So finding the intercepts kind of makes it easy to find the slope because you're working with zeros, which always makes life easier. Okay, so now you're going to practice finding the x and y intercepts and the slope. We're going to make sure we write them as ordered pairs. So these are the easy ones. Your x-intercept is 3, 0. Your y-intercept is 0, 3. Try not to get them mixed up. I know I have a negative slope, so I can either go up 1 over 1, which makes it a -1 slope. I can do y2 minus y1, which is 3 minus 0, 0 minus 3, 3 over -3 equals -1. So you get the same answer, whichever way you do it. Alrighty. Super quick, super quick, super quick. X-intercept. We'll call that 3.5. Ah, what happened to my pen? Hate it when that happens. Looks like it's working. It's not. All right, x-intercept. So that's going to be 3.5, we're going to call it. 0. There is no y-intercept because it doesn't ever cross the y-axis. So our slope, you should remember from Hooyvaks, what kind of line is that? It's vertical. The slope is undefined. And the equation, if we wanted it, would be x equals 3.5 because that's the equation we know from Hooyvaks. Alrighty. Okay. Next one. Okay, this one doesn't actually cross the x or y axis. So we could do a couple things. If you feel like you have a really steady hand, you could extend the line out and say, oh, maybe it's at 3, and then it disappears. Oh, maybe it's at 3, although my line might not be straight. So I'm going to work it out. The easiest thing to do would be to find the slope. So I'm going to find the slope right now. This has 2 perfect points. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be 3. And I'm going over 1, 2, 3, 4. So my slope is going to be 3 over 4. Which helps me if I want to. I could just count up 3 and over 4 from this one. So I can go up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, which puts me there. Nice line, Mary. Nagel Perkins. And then I go up 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Crummy line with Nagel Perkins. So my x-intercept is 4, 0, which could not tell by making that line I made. -3. Okay, of course it gets a little harder when you have tables. So let's look at our tables. Number 4 has it on here. Once I have the zeros, I know my x and my y-intercept. Okay, so my x-intercept is -3, 0. Oh, there it goes again. And my y-intercept is 0, 5. And my slope, I'm going to go ahead and say is 5 and 3. Since they're both increasing, I'm going to have a positive slope. So it's going to be 5/3. And when I have fractions with 3 on the bottom, I just leave them as fractions because I don't like for those repeating decimals. So I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, same thing in number 5. Here's our zeros. So my x-intercept is 9, 0. And my y-intercept is 0, 6. And if I want to take, I can take those differences and do 6 minus 0 and 0 minus 9. This one is increasing, this one is decreasing, so I'm going to have a negative slope. This is going down by 3, up by 3, and this one is going down by 2. So I can just do 2/3, which would be the same as if I had done my, wait a minute, did I do it backwards? No, 2/3, which would be the same as I did my 0 to 6 over 9 to 0, which would be 6/9, which would also be 2/3. Okay, now we have the slope, but we do not have the x and y intercepts. So the first thing I noticed about this is there was a mistake right here. Because if you find the differences, this is going up by, they're both going up, so it's going to be a positive slope. This one's going up by 2, and this one's going up by 6. So my slope is 2/6, which is 1/3. So wrong slope. Okay, so every time my y goes up by 1, my x goes up by 3. So if I go up by 1, I'm not going to go up by 1. This is going up by 3. So this one's going to go up by 1. Okay, I am doing it that way. Okay. If this one's going up by 3, this one goes up by, oops, that's too much. So let's do this. If I have 3, I'm going to end up with -1. And if I have 6, I'm going to end up with 0. So don't get carried away like I just did. Okay, so my x-intercept is 6, 0. My y-intercept is 0, -2. And my real slope is 1/3. Okay. This slope is correct. I double checked. They're both going up, so it's positive slope. This one's going up by 4. This one's going up by 10. Excuse me. So my slope is 10/4, which is 5/2. So this is correct. So every time my y goes up by 5, such as here, this one goes up by 2. -4 up 2 is going to be -2. If this is going up by 2, this should go up by 5. So my slopes are -2, 0, and 0, 5. Not always are your tables going to work out that easily, but for this one, it works. So we'll just call it good. Going fast, going fast, going fast. Don't know what that is right there. Skip those word signs at the top. Okay, volleyball team traveling, going on a trip. Okay, so there's a graph. So I don't really care about any of this stuff up here. What I do care about is the intercepts and what they represent. Here's my intercepts. So my x-intercept is, well, I'll do my y-intercept. My y-intercept is My y-intercept is 0, 120. So that means 0 time, 0 hours. That's when they started, right? They had 120 miles to go. That's how far they were traveling, and we knew that up here. Okay, for my x-intercept, it's going to be 30 which means at 3 hours, they had 0 miles. They had arrived at their destination. Okay, so if I'm looking for 2 as a 0 means x. So x equals 2, y equals 0 is what we're looking for. So that means if I substitute in y equals 0, I should get x equals 2. So I'm putting my zeros in right here. So if I have 0 equals x plus 2, if I take 2 away from both sides, I end up with x equals -2. So it's not that one. If I have 0 equals x minus 2, I add 2 to both sides and I end up with x equals 2. Ooh, I think that's it. Let's double check. If I have 0 equals 2x, I divide both sides by 2 and I end up with x equals 0. And if 0 equals 2x plus 2, I take 2 away from both sides, so I have 2x equals -2, x equals -1. So my answer is B. Man. Okay, we're finding the intercepts now when we have equations. So one way you can do this when you have equations, it's called the cover-up method. If I'm looking for the x-intercept, man, you can hear me say man a lot, man. Okay, when you're looking for the x-intercept, y equals 0. So I can basically cover up the y with my finger, which I can't do on here because then I'll hide it and you won't be able to see it. Well, actually, we'll just do that. Okay, if I cover up the y, then I have 1/2 x, because that y is equal to 0, which makes it go away. I have 1/2 x equals -4. I multiply both sides by 2. X equals -8. So my x-intercept is -8, 0. Okay, let's see how tricky I can be. I'm going to erase this. Woohoo, look at that. Okay. For my y-intercept, I have x equals 0, and so I'm going to cover up my x because basically that goes away because x is equal to 0. So I have -2y equals -4, divide both sides by -2, and I have y equals 2. So my y-intercept is 0, 2. Okay, so I'm going to use the cover-up method that I just talked about because whenever one of my y's or x's is equal to 0, that term goes away because when I multiply anything by 0, it's 0. So let's do our x-intercept. Y equals 0. So we have 0 equals 3x minus 12. 3x equals 12. X equals 4. So I have 4, 0. And for my y-intercept, x equals 0. So I have -4y equals -12. Divide by -4, and I have y equals 3. So I have 0, 3. Okay, last one. Y equals 0 is my x-intercept. So I have 0 equals 3x minus 9. 3x equals 9, x equals 3, so 3, 0. And then my x equals 0 for my y-intercept is y equals -9. So that's 0, -9. Those are my intercepts. Okay, I'm going to graph these first two by using the intercepts and finding the slope. So this first one is going to be -8, 0, and 0, 2, and I'm going to make a beautiful line. I'm sure it looks like that. And my slope is going to be, if I want to just find it, On here, I'm going to go up 2 and over, you got it, 8. So I have 2 over 8 equals 1 over 4. And the second one is going to be 4, 0 and 0, 3. It's going this way, which means the slope is negative. I go up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 4. So it's 3 over 4. And how'd I do? How'd I do? How'd I do? It's taking me, oh, I can't find it. Okay, we're done. That's all there is for y and x intercepts. We're going to use those to help us find equations. So make sure you understand. Bring me questions tomorrow.